Hello, everybody. I think you're muted on entry, but I'm very happy to see everyone. We'll wait a minute or two. Some more people are coming in. Feel free to use the chat. I believe I got the chat working for everybody. And I did put the template there. We'll come in with different levels of entry. So I had the template there in case you just want to get started. Can somebody give me a thumbs up? I want to make sure that you can hear me fine. Hey there, Liz. Hey, everybody. I saw that in the chat. It'll be a little bit hard for me to present, answer questions, but I'll try to keep an eye on everything. Okay, great. Thanks for the feedback on that the audio is fine. I'm going to shut the air conditioner off. I don't know if you could hear that as well. Thank you for coming. I'm excited for this whole week, this whole month. I know that last week this time last year, where many of us were at our different institutes and maybe getting ready for Stranger Things and trying to not lose any friends over people spoiling information on that, etc. So last year, this time was a really exciting time, and I'm glad that Apple cares enough to find a way for us to try to stay, not to try, but to be connected. And I think that the ADEs are doing an excellent job sharing. With that said, with sharing, I would love for you to share some of your success stories. Some of you have some success stories already. I would love for you to add to this with the chat box here, as well as possibly the chat box, the comment section underneath in the ADE community under this session. I think we only have 40 minutes. I'm going to go as long as they let us, but I believe that I might get kicked out at 40 minutes, so I might get started quite soon. Again, last year, I just did a crazy thing with from the kids' shirt in Stranger Things. ADE camp, I was afraid in April that there was nothing, that we would have no ADE event, and I'm glad that right now it's so fun to see pictures coming in from everywhere on Earth, everyone ready to share. And I consider this a little bit more almost on the wellness section as far as compared to a deep dive on technology, because I think that this is a great example for us to just connect a little bit and to have an idea that can connect with others. Let's do a really quick speed test. Everyone, I hope that you can find your thumbs up on this platform. Give me a thumbs up if you have students that are quite good socially, but only if they have a little bit of coaxing. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up if that is a situation for you. Sometimes they like structure, and once they get some structure, they're very good at talking and sharing. And I'll be honest, quite honestly, I'm not seeing my thumbs up. So do you have access to the thumbs up? There's a template that you can share as well. Thank you, Liz, for resharing that. I'm going to trust that I'm seeing some thumbs up. And well, another speed test. You have some kids in your class that have great personality, and once they have technology behind them, sometimes and some choice in classroom, a lot of times they end up really surprising you by showing their personality and creativity. Give me a thumbs up if that's the case for you.
And I'm getting a bunch of messages from people that are in your waiting room that are dying to get in. If you don't mind,
and then
just
the last thumbs up is you have been surprised this past school year by times when you just showed students some structure and they've just taken the tools in front of them and they've recreated it, reimagined it in a way that you didn't foresee happening. I think that happens for most of us teachers. So go ahead and share some thumbs up if that's the case for you. Today's session that we're going to talk about, the reasons I love this is because it gives students an opportunity to have personality. Students have agency over what they will share and what they won't share. It gives a lot of critical thinking because they'll be using the interactive links within Keynote to connect the different pages through connecting links. And what I really love about this is a great entry point because later the students end up having choose your own adventure presentations in their other classes, and their teachers are asking, how did you do that? They're making real-time adjustments based on feedback of the audience or the teacher, the students in their classroom. And that's where it enhances the future presentations and projects. And quite honestly, it's fun. It builds community. It builds curiosity among students. I had one group of kids, they were twins. Some kids in the class didn't even know they were twins until they had this activity. The boy and the girl, they didn't look a whole lot alike, and they definitely avoided each other in school. So they had classmates that didn't even know that they were twins until this activity. So I'm assuming that you're familiar with the game of Truth and Dare. Quite honestly, usually you're given 3 questions. It might change in different cultures, but basically you make 3 statements. Usually 2 are true, 1 is false. I've augmented that just a little bit because generally if someone says something's true, then they say it's true again, and then we assume that the last one is false. So that takes away the fun. So I give students the option to have 4 different options. So they can have true, 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 and then another one would be false, or they could have 2 trues, 2 falses. You can manipulate that, change it any way you want. Thank you for the heads up on the waiting room. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me admit all. Thank you, thank you. Petra, I appreciate that. Hello, everyone. I am sorry that I missed you in the waiting room. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for pointing that out in the chat room. And great, I'm glad you're all here. I'm glad that we get to share ideas from across the world. Basically, I'm sharing a little bit. We're going to talk about interactive links, and the way that I use it is for 2 truths and a lie game. So I'm going to continue to admit people as we get going. And basically, real quick, the reason I do this, the why behind this all, it gives students a chance to connect like other icebreakers, but they have more agency over what they share and what they don't. They learn a skill of interactive links in Keynote, and they have to do some critical thinking of connecting the links. It makes their future presentations better because they use this tool to make future adjustments and future presentations. It builds community, curiosity, and students are continuing these conversations outside of class. You can do it as a whole class presentation. You can do it as you at the beginning of the class of the school year. You can have the students present to the whole classroom and get feedback, or you can have them do breakout sessions and round robins. So with that said, it looks like we have many more people in now. I'm going to go to the next slide. So 2 truths and a lie. I made the bottom one a button, and I'll teach you how to do that soon. It would be great in the comment box if you could give me an idea of if you have a lot of experience with using interactive links or not. But this is a real quick example. I'm going to click the ready to play button. And basically the template that you'll get will have 4 questions. I'll go to the first one, and this is as if I'm giving one at the beginning of the school year with students that I don't know. And I'm the middle child with 4 siblings. Do you think this is true or false? At this point, I understand it may or may not be a great question because you may not know me well enough to know, but I'll show you what it looks like. I'm going to click true. And yes, that's my family. Both of my father and mother were teachers. And I might ask you, which ones do you think are my brothers and sisters, and which ones do you think are in-laws, is how I might do it in my class. For now, I will skip that part and I'll say, let's go to try again button up here. But I also want you to know that you can always add more details. So I'm going to click try again. Oops. Let's go back here. And then the critical thinking part becomes, you can give them a template, but I really like it when we simply tell them the task, give them an example, teach them the steps of how to do interactive. I'll admit some more. Great. So that was our first question. I have a true and a false already prepared. Let's go to question number 2. I once rode my bicycle all the way, most of the way across Korea, all the way from Busan to Seoul. Do you think that's true or not? It's fun to see some participation in the chat box. And you can imagine this being a little bit more active if we had more time, or if you were face-to-face with your students, but you can also do it online. I see some trues, I see some falses, and quite honestly, you will see kids doing the same thing that I might be doing right now. You might see some humble bragging, but let's say that the kids said, no, it's false. I would say true. I changed the background to be green for correct, and I said, yes, I rode from Busan to Seoul in September of 2017. I did it in about 5 days. I got lost once, and then we took another excursion, but I did basically really close to 666 kilometers, which would be Busan all the way to Incheon. So I consider that almost mission accomplished, but I want to go back and truly complete the task. I'm going to go try again, and you can always go to the next, give them more content. I could talk to you about the history of this path, how it's connected to ecology and connecting all the rivers in Korea and the pros and cons of that, etc. I won't do that today, but you can expand, take this curiosity and expand it. So let's go back to the home. And we'll do question 3. Our campus only had 3. I am admitting some more fellow ADEs. Okay, let's go back to the home. Let's go to question 3. Thanks for the participation. And yes, I'm seeing some with some true, some false. Our campus only had 3 Apple devices the year that I became an ADE. This one is a little bit more, I'm seeing about half true, half false. Many people would choose false, and this is where it gets complex because I changed the background to be red instead of green, and it's actually almost true. We had one Apple computer on our campus the year that I became an ADE. I'm really proud of some of these students right here. Are part of the 15 students that in 2012, we made more than 60 videos to help attract international students to our campus and to share the positive stories of things happening on our campus. It was a ton of fun, and I enjoyed sharing that in 2013 in Bali, that story. But for everyone, I created a try again link, but that is not necessary. You could simply have a home link. I actually see that I messed up my try again link. I have a home button, and then a true button and a false button. And I may have made a mistake on that one. And if I make mistakes, I'll fix the template and I'll share that again with you later so we have a perfect one as well as the current one. Let's just simply skip to here. And again, the reason I don't love two truths and a lie is because it's too predictable in the 3rd question, so students have an option for the 4th. Is 2013 the best year ever? And quite honestly, my thesis on that is no. As much as I love my 2013 friends, I think that every year that we have ADE should be our best year ever, because if all of us are doing our job of helping the newer ADEs, every new opportunity, every year has opportunity to be the best, the best, the best. I see Gail from 2001 thank you for your legacy and helping us through the years, helping me personally through the years, Gail. So obviously that's just a fun way to engage the students, and you can imagine a classroom or our ADE ballrooms getting excited about this. I agree with every answer that's up there. So I want to show you how I do that. I actually did not see the comments perfectly well on this. Normally, if I'm giving sessions to parents or students, I have students by applause kind of tell me, I get out of presentation mode, and then I have them tell me if they use interactive links most weeks and they're happy to help others. Some of you might be at that session. Today, for the sake of time, I'm actually going to assume that you would like a quick review or that it's new for you. I saw several people sharing just a bit, that they do it a little bit. It's so easy, and once you've done it once, it will unlock so many options for you. I think that it is quite honestly one of the, compared to the entry level, it is so extremely easy to get started. And once we show the kids that they can do this, they can rethink all their presentations. If you're doing flipped learning or front loading, and you're giving some digital workspaces, workspaces, I'd like to call them, then you can have students do some test out to go to a different slide further on. There's so many options for this for teachers and for students. Let's go to a quick preview. I would like you to open Keynote and also tell me if you're on an iPad or a desktop. That would be great in the chat. Let's keep it simple. If you're on a desktop, tell me that if you're on a desktop. And yes, this works so well for digital workspaces. That way the students that know the content, they can go exactly to the slide they need, and the ones that need support, they can get the support they need. Okay, we have several desktop, we have some MacBooks. Excellent, I prepared for both. I will show you first how to do it on iPad. On an iPad, I'll go to play. I want you to know you can do any object, any piece of text. You can either do email, take them to a website, or a different slide within Keynote. So the first thing you would do is you would create any object on an iPad here. And then, this is a screenshot, you would either press one time until you get your options, and then you'll see the arrow right here. You're choosing this link. So choose any object. And then you do link to slide. Your three options are email, web page, or link to a slide. The default is next page. But you can create arrows. It works really good for arrows too, and table of contents, etc. And I'm happy to include a few more people. Sorry to leave you in the waiting room a little bit longer. So again, you're choosing any object. Oops. Sorry about that. You're choosing any object. You're pressing on it. You're getting your option. You're choosing a small one that says link. And then you're choosing link to slide. And then after that, you're simply choosing whatever slide. So bare bones, you create a new template or a new Keynote presentation, 3 slides. You make an object on slide 1. You put an object on slide 1, and you try to make it link to slide 3. We can practice that very soon, but I don't want to ignore the many people on MacBooks right now. This is equally easy on the MacBook, on any desktop version. You can create and choose any object. You can do this with right click or going through the windows the first time. You go to Format in Keynote. You add a link. Command K is a shortcut that works quite well. You have the same 3 options: email, website, which is great for your digital workspaces, and any slide in the presentation. And the reason I love this is if you add slides earlier, and the numbers change, it keeps it connected to the actual perfect slide, which is a question that many people have. And then you simply choose the appropriate slide. those are the steps. I didn't want to ignore you in case you've been doing other awesome things in Keynote and other presentations and you just haven't used Link, but I wanted to take a few moments to show you that. So now that we've done that, let's practice. You can either do this, now that I showed you, let's practice. Maybe you've been practicing already. What I would like, if you have the template open, feel free to do that. The numbers are just slightly different than what I have here. But can you make this link, basically, can you skip a slide? Can you make 3 slides, create a link on that object and have it skip a slide? And I'll show you how to do it. I think that this will work for you. The way that I would do it, if I want to make this slide link to slide 3, I'm clicking on it 1 time. I'm clicking on link. I'm clicking on link right here with my finger. I have several options. I'll show you these options here. You can do web page, email, or slide again. I want it to be slide. I don't want next slide. I want to do link to slide. And then I choose the appropriate slide. In this case, it's 33. And that's a picture of 1 year ago, yesterday morning in Gold Coast, Australia. Is what slide 33 is. Let's test. I have to click play. It will not work when I'm in the creation mode. I have to click play to test it. I'm going to click here with my finger, and perhaps I made a mistake. I may have chosen 32, so let's do some troubleshooting one more time. Clicking on the link, clicking on the object, choosing link, and link to slide should take me to slide 33. I promise this works almost every day when I use it, so let's just try it one more time. There we go. So some small glitch, not positive, probably human error, and there you go. And then the most important thing, if you do this with students, is you will want them to always make it easy, have them thinking with empathy and user design, how can they make a link to go back to the home page, etc. So I would like you to do that on your slide 3. Quick challenge, can you do that in less than 90 seconds? Can you make a new object on slide 3 and go back to slide 1? That way you'll have 2 pieces of experience. Lawrence, I see your question. I'm not positive if I can help you quickly. Perhaps others can chat. Lawrence, can you tell us if you're using the template or just simple new creation in Keynote? What I would like to do is I want to show one more slide, and then I can try to help anyone that's having trouble. So you can share a template, and the problem with the template, the excellent thing with the template is you can quickly get into the icebreaker part. And it'll probably say 1 whole class period, quite honestly. And possibly you give them a template that almost works perfectly, and maybe they have to troubleshoot 1 link. That might be a nice compromise. But if you want to start from scratch, basically this is a minimum. You're going to want a home button. And the home button will be the one you saw with me that had 4 questions. And then, but a minimum is 3. I augmented the game a little bit for my class. And the home button will go to question 1, question 2, question 3. I encourage, but it's not needed, I encourage my students to be able to go back home from every single slide that they're in. And then from each question, you'll have a green one for when it's true, or a red one for when it's false. And of course, you can You can manipulate the backgrounds because sometimes the correct answer is the fact that the student shows that it's false. So if that's the case, you need to set some ground rules from some students and create some decisions. I really appreciate some of you. Oh, I'm saying some people are having trouble with the template. With the template, I would need you to download the template and then make a new copy. And from the new copy, I believe that should work really well for you. Thanks for troubleshooting in the chat box for me. So this is kind of the messy section. Basically, the more easy it is for students to get back on the highway if they get off or if they got the correct answer, make it easy. What I generally do is I'd have students always have an option to go back home, then it's just one more click. Some students don't like that. They prefer to make it very easy for their people to go back to question 1, and that's why I have a retry link. So which is an option for the students, and I'd say close to half of them choose to do a retry link. Once they get in there, they are learning skills. They're making it interactive. They're making a user experience for their peers, and they're also sharing some personal things about them. So basically, well, it looks really messy on the slide right now, but this is basically, because it's messy, I would start with paper every single time, or the whiteboard, and really explain to students why we're doing it this way. Let them know your expectations, and then kind of let them go with lots of guidance, and the kids will start showing each other how to do it as well. Lawrence, I'm glad you got that answer solved. So I'm going really quick with that. What I love about this is you can start here and you can go everywhere. I guess there's a book named that title, which is why I gave credit down there. This also was a theme for Emporia State University, where I went to school. I love the idea of in Kansas, start here, go anywhere. And my students do that. I'm not going to take time today to show you this amazing presentation. I'll probably put it in a blog later, but Hannah was a senior this year, and for Cultural Hero Project, she used this interactive link, knowing that some people, depending on where they came from, whether they're Singapore students, Malaysia students, or from Europe, she knew that her peers would have different background information on Elizabeth Choi. Also, she fought for feminist rights and a right to vote, etc. in Singapore, and she knew that different people would have different interests that they wanted to share. So she made one with interactive links, and it really became just a face-to-face discussion, as digitally enhanced face-to-face discussion. And I am sad to say that we have 10 minutes left. I'm seeing some of you are having success with the template. Others are seeing the steps on their own. What I wanted to do next is I wanted to make sure that you had the template, and I shared that in the chat box right away. So if anyone joined later, and I know Liz and others reshared it with you, it's also in the ADE Community is a link. You can download that and make as many copies as you want. I should have been more clear on that at the beginning. What I would love, if anybody has already been using this and has some ideas of how to use it, I would love you to share that in the chat box now. If we are in a face-to-face situation, I would definitely be doing face-to-face sharing. And I would love to also continue this. Yep, choose your own adventure stories, that's excellent. Yeah, it does remind me of HyperCard, Brian. I loved HyperCard back when I was younger. Jeopardy game, excellent. This is exactly what they do for Jeopardy. Home button on the master slide. And what I really love is having students asking other peers questions in the middle of their presentation and adjusting what they where they go to in their presentation based on feedback. Yep, absolutely, Cindy. Thank you for sharing that. Computer science teachers are using it for app design to think about the user design, what will have to happen next. And so instead of doing the deep coding, they're starting with Keynote. Absolutely excellent. Yep, UI mockup. Thank you, Brian. And so that, because making apps is so much more than just the coding. The coding is crucial and important, but the ability to get resources, to sell it, to create the user design, to get feedback, to collect the data needed is so crucial. I'm so happy that you are sharing these answers. And like I said on this slide, what I love about it is I think it's so valuable for me to spend a moment showing students and giving them an opportunity to explore with it at the beginning of the year, because I get so much excellent feedback or better projects throughout the year, because it's completely different. So many students are like a lot of adults, they don't always love the sequential, feeling like they're handcuffed to a certain sequence. This gives them a little bit more freedom. And you may feel like you have 2 or 3 different things that we can talk about later based on me sharing a little bit about my personality. And so if you think of a classroom of 18 students share 3 questions, one of those 3 is probably has an opportunity of sharing a conversation, continuing a conversation outside of a classroom. And it's fun when you see very close friends being stumped on each other's questions. So it's simply a lot of fun. We are not going to do breakout rooms because I don't want us to get pushed back. I am so happy that I don't want us to get pushed out at 40 minutes. I'm so happy that some of you have been doing a great job helping others in the chat room. I went fairly fast due to time. Would anyone like to ask a question? Ooh, I love that, Cindy. Interactive map of a zoo with links to the map. Excellent. We are not going to do the breakout room, but maybe we can treat this as one really big room. I would love 2 things. The challenge is not an expectation, of course. I care more about wellness and your time and enjoying your summer if you're in summer, and your personal life if you're in school session right now. If you are encouraged, if you want to, you're encouraged to create a creation and share it. I think it could be fun to see different ADEs guessing the answers. You could share that either by uploading the doc in the ADE community or sharing a link through iCloud. That could be fun for you if that's fun, and go for it. You could do that in the comment section under this session in the ADE community, as well as some of these excellent ideas. I think I'll get a list of all these answers. I'll try to share some of the great ways that you are using them in the classroom as well. Yeah, there's so many good ideas. I'm not able to perfectly keep up with the chat box, but I'm so happy that you are helping each other. Does anyone have a question that you would like to ask or to give more details that's not easy to share in a chat room? We have about 9 minutes left.
Yeah, I have a question. I was thinking about using this as instead of Metaverse for like a breakout room.
And thank you for the comment. I am not positive if in Malaysia I still have access beyond the 40.
I don't know if you can hear me.
I hope that I do. Maybe someone can walk me through this. If I click on upgrade, I already signed up as a teacher. Oh, thank you. I did sign up as a teacher. I see the link there, Brad. And I'm still getting the error message. I signed up honestly every month, and most sections it would work, some it wouldn't. I'm preparing in case it doesn't work at 40. Yeah, if there was a question, I did not hear you. I think I gave everyone option to unmute themselves.
Can you hear me now? I don't think he can hear me.
Oh, I can't hear you, Carrie.
Oh.
Oh, let's try one more time. Carrie, can we try one more time? I'm sorry.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
I can, yep, and that's user error. That's complete.
Oh, great. Yeah. I have a question. I don't know if this is actually a possibility, but it would be cool if it was. I use Metaverse for our breakout rooms, but it's a little clunky. Is there any way for kids to type in an answer and based on their answer, it would go to a different slide?
I'll ask the community. I have not seen that.
That would be really cool.
The version of that I've seen is just predicting what the answer is, or keeping very simplified answers like closed options with yes or no or ABC.
Right. All right.
But
thanks.
Not that I know of. Not that I know of. Some creativity might be able to fake that. I don't know the answer to that. Does anyone else know?
It's Brett Carter here. You could probably duplicate something like that in Nearpod, which allows you to do some more interactivity that way. That might be a tool you could use. And then yeah, I mean, everybody would be on that Nearpod thing. And you could probably be Zooming with everybody at the same time if they've got a screen big enough to run 2 windows. So one for Nearpod and one for your Zoom or whatever other tool you're using for the facilitation.
Yeah, that's an option for sure. Thank you.
Yes, I would say that Nearpod would definitely work better than Keynote for that part. I'm sorry that I had my volume down. Did anyone else ask questions earlier or make comments that I missed?
And this is Karen. I was wondering, so if you put all these links in that together and you realize that you want to add something to your slides, did you say that the links will stay with the current slides that are there and they'll move as you add things in to your presentation in the future?
Yep, absolutely.
You have to relink everything.
You do not need to relink a thing. So
Okay.
a perfect example of that is, you may have seen the example when I was talking about bicycling in Korea, that maybe later on I decided, hey, that's an opportunity to talk about some of the ecological and economy issues in Korea from about 8 years ago. So maybe I want to add some more information. And so I simply added it later. Every link that I already had in the presentation already worked. So it will not have, if you have 35 adjusted to 37, connected to 37, and then you add 2 more slides after 36, it will still go to what used to be 37, which is, it would be a deal breaker. I wouldn't use it if it didn't work that way. Hey, thank you. Yes, somebody was mentioning about Keynote Live. Let's talk about that. Thank you for sharing the link, Brian. Brian, would you like to share in a couple sentences how Keynote Live might help us with that issue?
Sure, I can do that. So if you're not familiar, it's kind of like it's like a Zoom ability, but within Keynote in a way. So you can basically turn on Keynote Live, but you can send a link to up to 100 people remote.